Hi, welcome to DBHandmades. My name is Danielle, and today we're going to crochet one of my favorite things to crochet, and that is Baby Yoda. Grogu, the child, or little green alien. And I love crocheting this guy, especially I've come back to this specific pattern because it is beginner friendly. It's very easy to do and it's so cute. I absolutely love the design. The design is by Octoberin_the chair, and we're gonna crochet Grogu together. Before we begin, two things. I will link the free pattern in the description box below. Also, I will be putting several links in the description box as well. Sorry, it's a thunderstorm outside. I have affiliate links in the description box, so I will make a small commission. If you want to support my YouTube channel, go ahead and use those links for all of your crochet and yarning needs, but no pressure whatsoever. They are there just as a resource. Now with those two things out of the way, let's get started and crochet Grogu. Yay! So here are the supplies that you will need to make Baby Yoda or the green alien. You're going to need green, brown, and tan or light brown yarn in a light worsted or DK weight yarn. I'm using Hobie's Rainbow 8/8 cotton, and then these two are Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton. I absolutely love these yarns, especially when making any sort of amigurumi or friends. You're going to need some stitch markers so you don't lose your place. You're going to need safety eyes. You will need polyester filling, a tapestry or an embroidery needle. I'm going to use a 3.75mm or F crochet hook. Now, you are certainly welcome to use a 3.5 or a 4mm. Unfortunately, I normally use a 3.5mm crochet hook with this thickness of yarn, but for some reason I lost mine. I know it's in the apartment somewhere. But anyways, that is what I'm using. Oh my gosh. I've got my own Taki scissors, and then of course a little bit of chocolate, because who doesn't like a little bit of chocolate or whatever your favorite candy is? Because, you know, crocheting is fun, and it's really fun to have a little snack on the side. Let's start making Grogu. Okay, so as I'm reading this pattern here, the reason why I really love going back to this pattern, not just because I love Baby Yoda or Grogu, of course I do, who doesn't, but the pattern is very simple to follow. It tells you what type of stitches that you're going to use, the abbreviations for each stitch. It tells you that the creator used 8-ply yarn with a 4mm hook for the body and brown coat, 12-ply yarn with a 4mm hook for the beige yarn, 15mm plastic safety eyes, but you can size up or down based on your yarn and hook size, and also it's a free pattern. So that's also a plus too. Here's what I'm going to do a little different. They work in continuous rounds, except for the coat, which you can do rows back and forth. I really like to join each row with a slip stitch and then chain one. I find that your rounds are going to just be more lined up evenly. I know there are no color changes or anything, but it's just something that has become my preference lately. But honestly, Grogu is going to be so freaking cute either way, honestly. So you can choose to follow how I do it, or choose to do it as this creator has listed in the instructions and do it in continuous rounds. We're going to start making the head first, and go from there. 8 single crochets in a magic circle. So we gotta make a magic circle first. So that is always chain 2, and then doing 6 single crochets into this second chain. Okay, so now we have our magic circle, and we're not going to join with the, I know I just did this whole speech about joining with a slip stitch and then chaining 1, but we have to work 8 single crochets into our magic circle first. So we're going to do that first. And I also like to work yarn under. It just creates tighter stitches and a more professional look to your final projects. So let's make sure that we have 8 before we move on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Slip stitch, and then chain 1. And of course, we're going to use our handy dandy stitch marker and place it into the last stitch of the previous round. So another thing I'm going to do a little different is in row 4, the directions say to increase first and then do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. When it says 2 crochets, 4 crochets, 6 crochets in a row, I like to start off with a single crochet first and then an increase, excuse me, and then an increase in the second stitch, and then start the repeating pattern of 2 single crochets followed by an increase. 5th row, or in the 5th round, we're going to do chain 1, increasing single crochet, followed by 3 single crochets. For round 6, we're going to start again by being rebellious, chaining 1 and single crocheting into the first stitch, single crocheting into the second stitch, then increasing into the third stitch. Four single crochets, followed by an increasing single crochet. Continue this all the way around until you have 2 stitches left, where you will do 2 single crochets followed by a slip stitch into the first stitch. We're moving on to row 7. So we're going to do chain 1, single crochet, and we're actually going to be doing a whole bunch of single crochet rounds from rows 7 to 13. And make sure, guys, to count how many stitches you have for rows 7 to 13. Make sure you have a total of 48 stitches. So after you put in the eyes, now we're going to start decreasing our rounds. Gonna do 2 single crochets followed by a decreasing single crochet, and then the repeating pattern is 4 single crochets followed by a decreasing single crochet. Repeat that all the way around until you have 2 stitches left, where you will then have 2 single crochets and join with a slip stitch. So right now I am at the end of my, well, not rope, but yarn. So I'm gonna need to add more yarn on, and this is how I do it. So instead of yarning over or yarning under and pulling through a loop, I'm going to put the slip knot of my new yarn on and pull that through, and then continue on. It's a lovely and seamless way to add more yarn to your project. And we're going to decrease 3 more rounds until we have 16 stitches in the round. So for this round, we're going to chain 1, do a decrease, followed by 3 single crochets, and repeat this all the way around until you have a total of 32 stitches. Row 16, we're going to do chain 1, single crochet, followed by a decreasing single crochet, and then 2 single crochets, followed by a decreasing single crochet. Do the repeat of 2 single crochets with 1 decrease all the way around until you have 1 stitch left, where then you will do 1 single crochet and then join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. Okay, so for the last decreasing row for Grogu's head, we're going to do a chain 1, decreasing single crochet, followed by a single crochet, and repeat this all the way around until you have a total of 16 stitches. Oh my gosh, doesn't it just look so cute? I can't stand it. Cut off a long tail for sewing. How fun. Next, we're going to make the ears. Of course, we're obviously going to make 2 ears, and we are actually going to work 4 single crochets into the magic circle, but instead of doing that, I'm just going to make my magic circle from 4 single crochets. I will show you what I mean. Round 1. So what I'm going to do is chain 2 and then do 4 single crochets into the second chain. Tighten it so that there's no gap, and then I'm going to simply slip stitch into the first stitch and chain 1. So for round 2, I'm going to, let's see, increasing single crochet in the first stitch and then a single crochet in the second. Repeat that one more time until you have a total of 6 stitches. All right, and then the third round, we're going to increase single crochet into the first stitch, single crochet. We're going to repeat the increase single crochet pattern twice all the way around until you have a total of 9 stitches. The fourth round is just going to be single crochets in each stitch until again you have 9 stitches total. Chaining 1, increasing single crochet in the first stitch, and then a single crochet. Do a repeat of increasing single crochet followed by a single crochet 3 more times, and then On the last stitch, you will have an increasing single crochet. Make sure you have a total of 14 stitches. You're going to do single crochets all the way around until you have 14 stitches. Okay, so row 9 is where the real fun starts. We're going to single crochet in the first stitch. We're going to wrap our yarn over, and then we're going to do a half double crochet, half double crochet, and then 2 double crochets, and then, oh, hold on, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Double crochet, and then we're getting crazy here with a triple crochet. My goodness. Let's do it again. So yarn over twice, and then pull it through 3 times. It's pretty awesome. All right, let's do it 2 more times. Yarn over twice, and then pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. It's really cool. And then 1 more time. And we pull through. Anyways. And then we do 2 more double crochets. Followed by 2 half double crochets, and then a single crochet. Make sure to slip stitch into the first stitch. We're going to do 2 more rounds of single crochets. Again, make sure that you have a total of 14 stitches. So we're going to chain 1, decrease in the first and second stitches, and then a single crochet. Repeat this pattern 4 more times, and then do 2 single crochets in the last 2 stitches. All right, for the last round of our ear, we're going to do a row of single crochets, and make sure that you have a total of 10 stitches. And now I'm gonna sew on Baby Yoda's ears. Ear number 1 done. I love making this little guy. It just brings me so much joy. I love it. And then now, what we're gonna do is we're going to work the body from the bottom up, and we're gonna start from the feet. Let's make the first foot together. First round is going to consist of a magic circle where we chain 2 and put 6 single crochets into the second chain. And of course, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and start our second round. And we're going to increase single crochet all the way around and make sure that you have a total of 12 stitches. In the third round, we're going to chain 1 increasing single crochet into the first stitch, and then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Repeat this all the way around until you have a total of 16 stitches. From rows 5 to 8, we're just going to simply go back to crocheting into both loops with single crochets. Okay, so I just finished the first leg. Look at how cute it is. And now it's time for me to make the second foot. It is going to arrive in 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. We don't have to sew these together. We're just gonna crochet them together. Let's continue on our journey. Put my crochet hook back onto our loop here. I'm gonna act like I'm slip stitching into our first stitch like I did before. So we're just gonna do another slip stitch here. Boop, and now we've attached. How awesome is that? Now we're gonna do a chain 1, 16 single crochets on each leg. So let's start off with single crochet into the first chain here, or onto the first stitch here, and then another single crochet. Again, 16 on each leg, which means you have a total of 32 stitches all the way around. We're going to join by doing our slip stitch into the first stitch. And now we have completed our 9th row, connecting both of our legs together. How exciting! Row 10, just chain 1. We're going to increase into the first stitch. We're going to do 7 single crochets. Now repeat this all the way around until you have a total of 37 stitches. Row 11, chain 1, single crochet, and we're going to single crochet in all of our stitches. So I realized that rows 10 and 11 say that there are 37 stitches, and when you add 4 increases from a row that previously had 32 stitches, you're gonna only get 36 stitches and not 37 stitches. Our ultimate goal is at the end of making our body for Baby Yoda, we want 16 stitches. The next row, which is 17, when you decrease and do 7 single crochets, I think it's more important that you have 32 stitches all the way around, because if you have 33, then it's going to be a little bit harder to, well, it's not going to be harder to decrease, but your rows are going to be off by a little bit, and then when you connect your body to your head, they're not going to match evenly. And that's kind of the beauty of this pattern, is that both the head and the body end up having 16 stitches so that you can match or sew them on evenly all the way around. It makes life so much easier when having to attach pieces together. 1 stitch off isn't as big of a deal, but just wanted to point that out there. The pattern says 37 stitches, but 32 plus 4 is 36 last time I checked. But again, that's the only mistake that I've ever seen, that I have seen in this pattern, but just keep that in mind. keep that crochet math in mind. Chaining 1, doing our decreasing single crochet in the first and second stitches, and then following that up with 7 single crochets. Row number 18, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm actually going to do 3 single crochets, followed by a decreasing single crochet, and then followed by 6 single crochets. So make sure that you follow the pattern decreasing single crochet and then 6 single crochets 3 more times until you have 3 stitches left, where then you will do 3 single crochets followed by a slip stitch joining the first stitch. Row 19, we're going to simply chain 1 and do a decrease in the first and second stitches, followed by 5 consecutive single crochets. Repeat this all the way around until you have a total of 24 stitches. Now for row 20, we're going to do chain 1, and then we're going to do single crochets all the way around, and again we're going to have a total of 24 stitches. For row 21, we're going to do chain 1, start out by doing 2 single crochets, and then doing a decreasing single crochet followed by 4 single crochets. Make sure that you have a total of 20 stitches. Rows 22 and 23, we're going to do single crochets all the way around, again making sure that you have a total of 20 stitches. Okay, so now we're going to do the final row of the body. How exciting! We're going to start by doing a chain 1 and decreasing single crochet into the first and second stitches, followed by 3 single crochets. Repeat this 3 more times until you have a total of, you guessed it, 16 stitches. Woo! So we just finished making Grogu's little body. How adorable. Oh my gosh. How cute. And now it's time to make his little arms. So here we go, making our first round of 5 single crochets. Again, I'm just going to slip stitch. You do not have to. It's just what I like to do. And then we're going to increase single crochet in each stitch until you have a total of 10 stitches all the way around. So from rounds 3 to 11, we're just going to do single crochets in each stitch, making sure that we have a total of 10 stitches in each round. For round 12, it says hold flat and crochet together before stitching the body. So I'm going to be a little rebel again, and I'm actually going to cut a long tail for sewing, but instead of crocheting it together, I'm just gonna Just gonna sew it together. Gonna use less yarn that way. So let me grab my needle. Before I sew on this arm, I'm going to make the second arm, make sure they match up, and then sew them on the body. So we've made, well, our naked green alien. He needs some clothes, but he's so cute. He's got a little seam on the back, but he's so darn cute. Hi guys. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we gotta get some clothes on him, so we're gonna transition to the brown yarn and make his coat. So before we begin making the coat, it does have a little note here that says chain 1 and turn at the end of each row unless marked by an asterisk. Start with brown. Well, and then also start with brown. So basically, just keep in mind that at the beginning of each round or each row, we're going to start off with a chain 1. Because it's not going to say that in the beginning of each row, but that's why we read directions ahead of time so that we can keep these things in mind when making our friends. So row 1, it says to chain 48. 3. So pro tip when making your foundational chain, make sure to have looser tension or less tension so that you can make your life a lot easier when moving on to the second round. Row number 2, single crochets on the second stitch and then single crochet throughout the rest of the row. So what I like to do to make a seamless edge is to actually work in the back bumps. So then you won't have this weird, awkward gap on the bottom. So I really like to work in the back bumps. From rows 3 to 8, we're going to do single crochets all the way across.
So Dove always has a message, of course. Sorry. Be with people who make you laugh. Lucy from California. Thank you, Lucy.
Now for row 9, again we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to start off by decreasing and then 6 single crochets, repeating that 5 times, and then we have a decrease followed by 5 single crochets. Now one thing I'm sure you probably noticed when I was crocheting is I chain 1 and then I skip this first stitch and I move on to the second stitch when doing rows. So I do this because if you do a single crochet into this first stitch, you're going to have all these weird bumps, but by doing a chain 1 and then doing it into this second stitch, you're not going to have this weird bump on the side, and it's going to have a more seamless look. So I'm sure you're asking, how are we going to do this row when we have to start our first and second stitches by single crocheting in them? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. So we're actually going to do the following. Of course, chain one, act like we're already crocheting into this chain by doing a single crochet, but we're not doing it. We're actually going to start doing our decrease in the second and third stitch. So we're actually counting this blank here, or our chain, we're counting our chain one as a single crochet. So technically we've already done one single crochet, so now we have 5 more to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we will go on to do decrease or decreasing single crochet, followed by 6 single crochets. Repeat this 3 more times, and then you're going to end with the sequence decreasing single crochet followed by 5 single crochets. From rows 10 to 15, we're going to do rows of single crochet, and remember, we're going to put our first single crochet of each row into this second stitch here. Continue going on, making sure that you have a total of 41 stitches all the way across. For row number 16, we're going to go back to decreasing. So remember, I'm actually going to start decreasing in the second stitch and then in the third stitch, because our chain one actually counts as the first single crochet of the row. So we've already done one of our single crochets here, so we're going to do 6 more. So repeat the decreasing single crochet followed by 7 single crochets 3 more times, and then when you have 5 stitches left, you're going to do a decrease followed by 3 single crochets. Make sure you have a total of 36 stitches. Now for row 17, we're going to single crochet all the way across, and actually we're going to do that for 18 as well. Make sure you have a total of 36 stitches all the way across. Alright, now for the 19th row, we're going to do 5 single crochets, but remember, our chain one is actually going to count as our first single crochet, and then we're going to do our second single crochet into our second stitch. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, and it says to do a chain 7. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and to skip 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And we're going to do a single crochet in this 8th stitch right here. It says do 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So essentially what we're doing here is we're making our little armholes for Baby Yoda's sleeves. How exciting. Another chain 7, skipping 7 stitches, and then single crocheting in the next 8 stitches. So now it's time for our color change in our coat. So what I like to do for the color change is we're going to undo our single crochet in the last stitch. Here I go, I'm acting like I'm doing my last single crochet. I put my hook through the stitch, I yarn under, and I pull through my loop, And instead of yarning over, yarning under, and pulling that loop through, I put the new color on and pull that loop through. And here is your seamless color change. And now we are ready for the next row, where we will chain 2 and turn our work. So it looks like we're working in half double crochets, single crochets on the sleeves, half double crochets again, and then single crochets on the sleeve again, and then ending with half double crochets. I'm going to do a whole row of half double crochets, and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, so for row number 22, we're going to chain 2 and turn, and then we're going to do 7 double crochets followed by 8 half double crochets, then 9 single crochets, then 9 half double crochets again, followed by 5 double crochets here. We're going to do 3 rows of half double crochet and fasten off. We're actually going to do 16 single crochets all the way around here. I'm actually going to do it in the front loops here. You don't have to, but that's just my preference. But because it just gets you in the habit of doing 1 loop here and then 1 loop here. Make sure you have 16 stitches all the way around. And let's begin our sleeve. Now we're going to do 5 rows of single crochets. So I'm going to do chain 1, single crochet. Again, just making sure you have 16 stitches all the way around, and joining the last stitch, or joining with a slip stitch. All right, so it's time for another color change. We're going to, again, I'm gonna undo my last single crochet. We're gonna act like we're doing the same thing. Pull through my loop here. Instead of yarning over or under and pulling through that loop, we're going to put on our new color and pull that loop through. And then complete our slip stitch to join into the new row here. And now we're simply going to do a whole row of single crochets followed by a row of half double crochets. And now we're getting ready to make the second sleeve.
I can't stand the cuteness. Look at him. Look at. What I like to do is I like to take my tapestry or embroidery needle and sew the coat shut, so it's not like he's gonna have some flashing moments, because that's not what we do here. That's not. So I'm going to, I actually had some long, I cut off long ends just in case anyway, for this top part of the coat, to stay on here. And then I'm going to take my long end here and sew down this seam and join and tie off with our original foundational single crochet. Okay, so let's get sewing. I proudly present to you Baby Yoda! Yay! Oh my gosh, he is so adorable. I just, from every angle, he is, can you imagine a big huggable version of him? Oh my gosh, I don't even want to speak of such things. I would have, oh dear. If I did that for all of the friends that I made, I would have no room in the apartment. But seriously, oh my gosh, I love how cute that he turned out, and I really hope that you enjoyed making Baby Yoda with me. If you really liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you loved my yarny shenanigans when making Baby Yoda, the child, Grogu, the green alien, go ahead and hit subscribe. And thank you all again for joining me today. Stay safe and happy and healthy. And until next time, may the force be with you. Bye!